Okay. So we're looking at the page, the link that Win sent. I don't know, Willa, if you have this. Uh, it's a page on the wiki that shows the developer priorities.
The one he sent through the email, or there's another one?
He sent it through IRC, I think, just a few minutes ago.
Okay. Yeah, IRC wasn't. My IRC was disconnected for some reason. I don't know why. Can you paste that on the
email too yesterday?
You sent it over the email, right? Yesterday.
Yeah.
That's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are. I think. Development priorities. Okay. Fine. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it would be useful to just go through it to some detail just to make sure that whatever we are doing is in line with what is listed here, but also to make sure that we include all the activities that we are working on that are priorities. I think that's fine. That's okay. Will and Win?
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is I think Jer made a really good page on that one to show like what is in progress, what's going on with the project that we're working on, and I think that would give the if we want to report something, I think we can put a link on that report as well, and then just I think this page can give some sort of overview of what's um, the the priorities are and what's the status of the work for that priority. I think I was just trying to say that with that page, and I think we should keep on updating that page.
Well, thanks, Win. I mean, it really, I think it will definitely be useful. But I think in addition to just reviewing the concept of having the page, I think we probably should just go through the items here, if you don't mind. Because when we were, yeah.
You're not done. Okay, go ahead. Just finish.
No, I was just saying, we had a glance with some of the developers here, and we just wanted to. So we felt, I think a couple of activities are not included here, and we just thought that it's good to just mention them, and possibly include them later on.
Okay, yeah, but if you look at this page, it says that the last time it was modified, it was on last year, in June 27th. So it is pretty out of date. I mean, I'm not really sure if it is really reflecting what is going on right now. And if you go down there, you'll see that all the issues, they are resolved and they're closed, all of them. There's no issue that is open here, at least in that first table. So as you can see, it looks like this thing is just, it is out of date, and whatever was priority at that time, it is no longer, I mean, it has been resolved or it has been closed for some reason. So I don't think we should be, there's one, yeah, there's just one that is new. It is reports 140. Yeah, there's one item. So, okay, maybe we could go through it, but I would suggest if we really need to use this feature, maybe we should update it before we rely on it for anything, because
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 1 year is a very long time.
Yeah,
June last
I think
year.
it's just we can use that page as some sort of historical look at what we did. So at least the non-developer can see like what's the progress, what's the developers are working on, what is done, what is not done yet. So we can get some sort of historical view. I mean, we can use the Jira to do this, but I think with this page, it's much easier for the non-technical group to see what's going on with the developers. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think this will be I think this can be very, very useful. I I think we've been trying a couple of things, and I think Willa has probably noticed that we've been sending weekly updates. I think if we can migrate that to here, that would probably allow for a bit more flexibility, and probably include a lot more people. But
Yeah,
what I
and okay,
sorry.
sorry.
No, go on, because I was about to say that I was about to move to another item, which is another point, which is a lot of the stuff looks like it's automatically generated.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I wanted to add. So if you look down there, you'll see that there are some issues which have been created like in this month. And I'm not. I'm sure Jeremy is not the one who added those. So they're just automatically. This thing is pulling information automatically from Jira, which is really good. So it seems like the only part that needs to be updated, the first part, the one on the top of the document. That's where things are not automatically pulled. Yeah, that's what I think. So
Yeah. The way that it works is that it has a query for a very specific ticket. It doesn't have a list of tickets, like you said. It's a generalization. And so the way I would recommend grouping these tickets together is to try to either tag all of the tickets that you want to show there with a specific label, or you can use an epic and hook them into the epic. And the epic is sort of like the overarching story that has to do with a single project or a single release or something like that. And so I believe that's how I had done the ART tickets and the pre-ART tickets. So there's a lot of ways for you to group tickets together so they can be shown, and as you work with them in Jira, you can have them show up on that page. The other thing I wanted to mention is that this page came out because we were not communicating properly, and unfortunately we didn't keep it up, and that is part of us not communicating properly. But beyond that, for a time, the priorities were changing somewhat rapidly for the management. And so when management changes their priorities, we need to adjust to those and rearrange on that page what the priorities are, or what the tasks are for those priorities. And so that was what this page was really for, was to try to align with management and the field director and the program managers and things like that. So if you ask Martin, what are the priorities coming down from Kimayo and all the other folks, he may have a different list of priorities. Like Muzima's not even in there, but we know it's a priority. So it definitely needs to be updated on a regular basis by somebody who's in touch with the program manager's priorities.
Thanks, Jeremy. I think we'll do that. We'll spend some time, first of all, to list out all the priorities. And then we'll look at, you have suggested that we either tag some of the tasks, some of the tickets, or we attach them to epics. I don't know. I think we'd probably be in favor of tagging them, mainly because a lot of them are already far along. People have been working on them for a long time. Creating an epic out of a number of them may be a little tedious. But I think I'll work with the guys here, and we'll work on this page. We'll make sure all the priorities are in, and make sure that all the tickets are tagged appropriately so that they appear here. And then maybe at the next developer call, we can review it and see how it works. What do you guys think?
Yep, I agree.
okay, hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, okay. There's only one last piece to that. So we think this is a very good thing to do, and it's going to help us in knowing what we are supposed to be doing. and if there's any change that is supposed to be incorporated in our priorities, depending on what the management think at a particular time. But the last piece, which is very important, is who is responsible to be doing that? Like updating the page. We can agree here we need that and it should be updated and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, we leave the call, and after 2 weeks, nothing has been done, or maybe after a month, 2 months, it is still the same page. So how are we going to be doing this?
In my mind, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. No, I was just I was saying that I think I can be responsible for it. However, that doesn't mean that I'll be the only one who updates it. I think what it is I'll probably ask folks to come in and update it whenever they need to, but I'll more or less make sure that all the priorities are in there. Jeremy?
Yes. So I was thinking that the program manager, project manager, may have some desire to control this as well. We can talk with Bonnie and see what he thinks. But ultimately, go ahead.
I'm right here. I'm saying I'm just right here.
Okay, so somebody talk to him right now. Just kidding. How are you doing, Bonnie?
As far as I think, since this developer page, I'm happy to work with Regan, basically to let him know what the priorities are, but not to engage physically in updating the page itself, because this is a development page, and I would like him to take control of that particular page because he's the lead of the team. I can work with management basically to relay what are the key priorities and bring those up to the team, basically. But in terms of physically updating the page, I think that should be left to the lead of the developer team.
So that sounds good. And I think as long as you are fully aware of the page and what it says, that at least is good enough, I think, because then you know what to use to communicate and whether it's wrong. So that's good. Two people looking at it is much better than just one. That's for sure.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I think just to emphasize, sorry, Willa, just to emphasize, it doesn't mean that I'll be the only one updating this page. I might call on specific folks to just update their sections, and I think that's that's a really key thing. And if I do, then I think it will be best if you. But it doesn't mean that I'll be the only one updating the page. I think other people will be updating it as tasks go, especially on the notes section.
Okay.
I'd also love to borrow the query that automatically populates specific tickets with specific levels, so that other teams like Forms team who want to relay some of their tickets within the updates page that they have can automatically do that without having to copy the URL physically.
Yes, so I'm just thinking about something else regarding this page. So it seems like when you update this page, you'll be having only one instance of this page at a particular moment. Don't you guys think we should be having multiple of this? Like, we don't really update this, it's like creating another one and then updating that one, so that we'll be having the priorities at different points in time. What do you think?
I'm not sure, Willa, what would be the criteria for having, like, how is it that we would have two sets of priorities at a go?
It's not really two sets of priorities, but what were the priorities at a particular point in time? Like, okay, this month, this is the priorities. 3 months later, we have different things. If we update this page, it means we're going to lose all the things we thought were priorities at 3 months back. What I'm saying is this will keep records. Like, okay, in March, these were the priorities, and now in May, priorities were different. These were the priorities, and then another month like that. You just keep track of things as time goes. rather than just saving one page on which you're updating that. I'm not sure. I'm just thinking maybe it's not a good idea. So we can decide here.
Well, there are two aspects to that. So one is that we really should be providing a monthly report to management or program directors of what our activity is. And so in that way, we definitely should have some description in that report of what our priorities were this month. But on the other side, we have version control in the wiki, so we can rely on that for multiple, for every time we make a change, to be able to go back and look. So I think we can handle the version control pretty easily just by relying on the wiki to have previous versions. But we do need to communicate the priorities for this month whenever we do a monthly report, which we've only done a few times, I think. I don't think we do it all the time, unless you guys have been doing it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we actually looking. Sorry, no, we're looking at the version control, and I agree with Jeremy. It looks as though it captures every little change that's made. So I think we can rely on that for history on what was a priority at a particular period in time. But we also haven't, just to answer Jeremy's question, we haven't been providing monthly reports to management. I think we've been doing this on a weekly basis, and not to the entire team of management. It's been to specific PIs. So
yeah.
I'm not sure what the proposal is. Are we proposing that we forward this to the top management, or are we proposing a change, or is that enough?
No, there's previously a request for this. So if that request is no longer valid, then it would just be me thinking about old requests, that's all. So if you are communicating now with management in a certain way, I would not change that. And I think Bonnie would tell us if we needed to change it. Right, Bonnie?
Say that again, sorry, Jeremy.
I was just saying, I think you would tell us if we needed to change the frequency or the style of communication with management.
Yeah, I think basically as long as it's clear and simple, whereby anyone can just read and understand, it would be good. And having an approach like you have, like you've indicated, that indicates all the priorities that you have, so that if a project belongs to a certain PI and they're not sure how far it's how far it is before it's handled within the team. I think having a list that shows everything and what begins and what is last is good, because it shows them that these are all the projects right now the developers are working on, number 2 or 3, but they at some point reach their project. So letting all the priorities within one area and keeping it simple for anyone to understand is a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah, there are different approaches proposed earlier on, but I think as of now, most of the kids are trying to create one way of being able to relate that information. We're trying to standardize this approach, but as far as I know, I think different leads have different approaches to relaying the information management. As long as it gets there and it's clear, I think it's enough. But if it is a point whereby probably Martin or Erica would want us to establish some standard, then again, I think the issue done may have best approach.
The status of because one of the things that when we change the workflow, the one ticket that we put on meeting Something that we do as this report, there should be a way if someone looking at his work related tickets, like that department should know that these are the tickets that came from you that are not. I think users requested that we are still not aware of that. So we need probably to have it whether we have them sure for sure these are these are that they are still that not yet gone through our approval. The ticket that are still
Okay, what's going on?
Can you hear them, Wella? I cannot
Yeah,
really
I
hear.
can't. I can't.
the project that you posted for it. So whether it's for Ampath plus let's stick to it is then you hold Ampath plus but no Ampath plus if it is
Hi Manu, welcome back.
Hi, yeah, we are back.
What was it? I think we lost it since Afayo.
Yeah, I think Alfayo was giving a concern which I think he can try and summarize it. Alfayo.
Okay.
I don't know how far we had. Okay, what I said was as we group these tickets, we should probably consider keeping a group that is showing the tickets that are not yet been approved, so that at least when the person who has requested for that task looks at our dashboard, he or she will know why the ticket is not probably moving. And I said the ticket that we were working on, and which when we changed our workflow, we said they were to be approved. We need to either change the status to on hold or because now they are in progress, and someone looking at them will say probably this work is going on and yet they are not yet been approved.
I think what Alpha is proposing is a refinement of the work that Wheeler and Buck did, because Wheeler and Buck created a new status on hold, but uh, we're having incidences where the ticket is on hold because we haven't received approval. So I think what he's asking is perhaps should we have another status which is awaiting approval? Because on hold may not, or perhaps we could just use on hold and add a comment saying the reason it's on hold is because it's awaiting approval. Because it could be on hold on many, because it could be on hold because it's no longer a priority or the resources required are no longer available, or things like that. So you can either create a new status. If this idea is popular, you can either create a new status that says this ticket is awaiting approval, or you can just use the comment section for that, which is you just flag a ticket as on hold, but you specify in the comment section that it's awaiting approval. Explains that. What do you think, Will? Is it too much of an effort to create a new status? Do you think it's a worthwhile idea?
Actually, it's not about creating a new status. It's more about do we really need that? So when you are saying waiting for approval, which approval are you talking about? The one before you start working on the ticket, or the one after working on the ticket, now you're waiting for somebody to review it? Which one is it?
The one before we start working on a ticket.
Yeah, I think there is a status that says need design, or there is also a new status. When something is new, it means no work is started on that ticket. So or when it needs some design, then yeah, still there's no work that has been started, and that's how it is. We have a new ticket, we have a status that says need design, and then we say, I think need design can be okay. That's a bit, it can be somehow misleading, because needing a design is not the same thing as waiting for approval. Yeah, but there is waiting for approval after. Now it will be confusing because we have that. I think there is need approval or something like that after being in progress for some time. Then you have under review. I'm not really sure. We need to look at the workflow and see how does that fit in there. That's my concern here, because maybe you have something that can be used to indicate what Alpha is suggesting. Besides, if it is on hold the status gives you a chance to put a comment. So you can say this is on hold because of. You can put any kind of reason that has made that ticket to be put on hold. So really, it can still be used. You just need to explain, like, okay, this has happened because of 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, I think we can end up with all this status, and at some point it can be confusing. Like, we have all these status and we don't know how to use them. So I think it's also important to keep it simple. We don't need to complicate things that much. So yeah, that's what I think.
I think the reason why I raised that was one of the users, the requesters, asked me what is happening on their tickets. We said, I told them we had changed our workflow and this is waiting approval. So what I was thinking, probably it would be good for us to have, like, it is very, if you go to that you just, it is very conspicuous that when you go there, you see that these tasks are not being worked on. Because if we just look, say, comment, then it means someone has to bring those tickets. But I'm just looking at a way, if possible, we can, someone going there on that, like, on that page, these tickets are not they're not being worked on because they have not been approved. Like, so that even the person who has requested for the work can go there and know why the work has not begun.
So I would say that I have two things to say about that. First is that the way to see where a ticket is in its progress and its lifeline is very valuable to not just us but also to our customers, and so how we represent that to them can be done a couple different ways. what I would suggest is we make something that we can include in communications that shows everybody what the workflow is, or some small way to demonstrate, you are in the second stage of this lifeline of the workflow. And I can show you guys just a quick picture of it. In fact, I might just kind of draw it real quick on a piece of paper and show it to you. But also, along those lines, I really liked the Kanban approach to the Kanban boards. When you switch to a simplified workflow that lets Kanban control it, you really just drag things from one column to the next, and that kind of lets you treat it as a lifeline from left to right. So if let's see, AMRS, I'm going to just write this up real quick here. I'm going to turn on my camera. I'm going to show you guys picture. Sorry guys, I'm a little novice here with my camera. There we go. So if I show you this idea here where there's really just, anytime we reference a ticket, if we can, and this is in our communication directly with status reports or something like that, if we can show something that's
Jeremy,
basically...
1 second, Jeremy. Why don't you just give the link to the Kanban, because it is there, and the workflow is being changed to simplified workflow, so it works. So you can go and see that easily on the web page. Okay, I mean you can do that too. For our purposes, Kanban workflow is perfect. But for the purposes of communicating, we really need to communicate everything at once. If somebody has to leave the document that they're looking at, it may not work out too well. That's why I'm saying it's probably not a good idea to just link to the Kanban workflow. Not only that, but when you go there, you'll probably see a bunch of different tickets, and you won't understand necessarily where yours is in the middle of all that. So if we have a way to do it, let's do it. If we don't, well, okay, then it'll be harder to do. We don't need to add more work to what we're doing. Reduces what's going on, then it's worth it. You know what I mean? So you guys kind of decide on that. But I think a very simple description of, we've got these 5 stages. You're in the 3rd stage. You're in the 2nd stage. Very small graphic, like a spark line. That's what I'm talking about. That would really communicate a lot with I think, very little effort if we can find a little, I don't know, if you're using Word to communicate, you could just have a snippet that you just paste in there and change which one is filled in. Or if you're using email, you could have a set of images available that you can just plop into the line whenever you're talking about it. And to me, that's the easiest way to do it. I'm only recommending this because I know communication is difficult, and I went to a visualization seminar recently, and it's really hard for me not to try to do some of the things they told me to do.
Yeah, we are still here. We're just trying to check out on the links, and probably maybe most of us don't understand how they would really work. So that's why we are going a bit silent. Can you hear us?
I
Yes.
can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this a means of communicating back to people who have or I don't know, maybe about
Jeremy, did you get that?
I heard Bonnie say something, but I didn't quite get the whole thing.
Yeah, I was just trying to think through and find out if this is the way that you're able to share information with requesters just to find out if they need to achieve something that we need to work on. I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on whether the people are really wondering whether they are, you know, what stage they're at or not. So if you find that people are wondering what it means when something is in progress or whatever, even just at the top of every communication have the workflow written out. This is stage 1, this is stage 2. They can at least reference that, like a legend for the status, you know, of a ticket. Yeah, I mean, somehow communicating it is a good idea. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, I think Jeremy, I think you're right. The summary version of this can definitely be included in our updates, and we can add in this Kanban, minimal reports onto the 2-week updates that we issue to each of the PIs. We'll have a session, I think, after this call where we'll just look through it, and see how we can capture this in our updates. But it's a really cool idea. I think it'll be useful. It will give our PIs and requesters a really good snapshot of where we are with their tasks.
Yeah, I happen to notice that part of this is something that can be automated so that you can get an update on specific projects that are going on, just to see. But relatively, I think
No, I think it might take a while to get used to how tickets are represented here. But I think the legend at the top just kind of explains it, and it's easy to tell. Yeah, it's easy to tell, based on the location of a ticket, based on where it is on this canvas. It's easy to tell what stage that ticket is in. So we'll explore this. We'll definitely give this a try, and we'll see if this adds value. But I think, I like it. It definitely shows where a particular task is, and I think this can be really cool. You don't have to spend too much time reading through stuff. You can just look at it and know this is almost done, this is still far. And if you want, you can follow up and dig in and find out where the issues are.
So generally, it means that every ticket must have a status, so that it's appended on the right somewhere within this. Yeah. I mean, these are friendly reports for people like us who know how to use the wiki. I'm not so sure if API would understand, but it's worth trying out, because as long as you get as long as you're able to, API is able to get this report within a week and they're able to comprehend, they would easily understand where the projects are and if they need to take any action specifically. But one thing I was suggesting to Regan is that for all the projects that probably do not have approval, especially if they relate to Ampath Plus, I can work with him to coordinate and see how we can get the to approve some of those projects so that they don't end up staying for long because they don't have approval. But I think that report looks good. Yeah. Looks good.
This is what I told you the other day.
Yeah, so unless we still have some views about this issue, then we can probably move to the next agenda.
So we had a look, Win, at the email that you sent. You know, the email where you made a proposal for how we should handle images and video for the time being, before before we develop a full framework to support that. And I mean, I agree with the fact that we have to store media on the SD card. We have to manually copy the images and videos onto the SD card of the Android devices. What I was wondering though is, because I noticed you mentioned that the forms, rather than having the images and videos, will instead have links. And the idea is that somebody, going through the form would see the link, then click on the link, and then they'd go to another activity, and then the activity would now display the video or the picture. And I know you gave some reasons for that, the real estate and all. But I was wondering, I mean, since it's a web view, ideally since it's just a HTML browser, a HTML5 browser for that matter, on whether we should just perhaps also consider the possibility of just directly embedding the images and the videos within the form. So I mean, I know we'll probably have a much longer discussion on this on the mailing list, but I think this was, I don't know, I just feel that it's a lot more logical to have the images and video embedded within the form rather than on a separate activity. And I'm not sure what Manu's discussions have been with the LAC team, but or what their preference is, or whether or not they've had that discussion. But I think probably will be something that we discuss a lot more before we start working on.
Regan, I think the biggest reasoning for me is I couldn't find, say for example, we have a form with a bunch of images, for example. So now we have this image and the HTML, but the thing that I cannot find within the Android documentation is how we can actually have this HTML access the image, if assuming we put this image on the SD card. So the web view can access the image in the asset folder in your project, which means if we want to put the image for the form, then we need to put it in the asset, and this asset only available during development. I'm not sure if we can add more image into the asset folder at runtime, and then the HTML can access this. That's why I was thinking we can just put a link. So, for example, if they want to view the image, they will push this link, and then it's pretty much like how you will see Gmail, for example, work. If you have like a YouTube link inside your email, you press the link, and then it will take you to the YouTube apps instead of displaying it inside your email. So I was thinking we can do a similar approach where you put the link to the image, and then when you press the link to the image, it will transition you to the gallery apps, for example, or other photo image viewer apps installed by the user of the device. I think it's freeing
Yeah.
us from creating our own viewer inside the HTML, because now we can support, for example, PDF. If the user already installed a PDF reader, for example, you can just we can embed this PDF in the form. So you just put a link to the PDF, and then they will transition to the PDF reader application, for example.
Yeah, well, firstly, I think the only two types of multimedia that we are considering are images and video. And while I agree, if we did embed a PDF, then we probably should have another application taking that over, an intent launching to another application. But as it is, I think you can be able to embed pictures and images, images and videos into your web view directly. Like, I think there's a method, load data with base URL or something like that. It's a web view method. And then you can specify like a full path, with a file protocol. And then you just write file, and then you specify the name, like the direct URL to where the media is stored on the SD card. So you can do that directly and just add the picture into the form without necessarily launching another app to handle that. And that's especially so, I think, because now we have, most of our phones probably are running WebKit. They have HTML5 support. So if you just use the video tag, you should be able to render any video.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think
all I'm saying is,
try it out. Like use just a simple form where you just to display like a simple image from the SD card, and then a few questions. Then I think it's fine. I think my worry is if we put like too much image in the form, too much video, for example, you don't really see the form itself, especially if you use like a really small device. So you lose your you're not getting the much of the form feel inside the screen if you put more image. Like you have to do a lot of scrolling back and forth to go from one question to another, for example. I'm just worried about that. I think there needs to be a trade-off, I guess. But if we can have a look at and your approach is working, I think I'm fine with that.
Okay. I think I can probably just write a simple app with a web view and then pull in some media, and then you can have a look at that. And I'll post that on the mailing list.
Yeah, just create a small form with like 1 or 2 questions, and then also displaying 1 or 2 images at the same time, and see how you think about it.
Okay,
Like,
and I'll
whether like it or not. Yeah.
And I'll also do the alternative. I'll create the same form and add in links so that we can compare the two in terms of user experience and in terms of real estate and all that.
Yeah. Cool. I think you should just reply to that email, Reagan. Just making sure that everyone are aware of the next step after what we're trying to do with the media stuff.
Okay, thanks, I'll do that.
Yep, cool. We have 4 minutes for AOB.
Well, guys, this is the last time I will be able to be on this call.
I forgot. It's supposed to be Jeremy's day.
Not much I can do. No, it's fine. I will not be able to be on this call again for a while, I don't think. I don't really know what their policies are on joining phone calls and talking to people.
Yeah.
I will be working at a new company starting next week. So I will obviously be available with my email address staying the same.
Yeah.
I'll have that. So That's good. And of course, I'm happy to help whenever I can, especially if you guys get into a really tough bind and you need some help. Just start buzzing me, and I'll be able to help you out.
And
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for all your contribution to Ampath.
and I was talking to myself.
Oh. Thank you.
You remember that video about the conference call? The video conference call. Very interesting. I was talking to the wall because I muted my mic, and I was like, "Why are you guys not listening to me?" Hey, Jerry. Jerry, I'd like to say I wish you all the best, man. And yeah, like you said, I think the policies shouldn't be bad, especially if somebody wants to help. So I still hope you're going to be helping with all the things which you've been dealing with.
Oh yeah, it's hard to ever get your hands out of Ampath one way or another. Look at Jonah. Jonah and Nelson have been called back more than once, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So again, you can get me on email. My IRC client may not always be up. I hope I can have it up on my phone, but it disconnects once in a while. But however you need to get me, you should still be able to get me. And I really think you guys are doing a great job. I know that the team has come and gone, and we've had people come and go with us, but we're really strong now, and I really hope you guys take advantage of it and do some really amazing things.
Yeah, I think Jeremy, the guys here in Eldoret will miss you as well. I think I only met you once during my interview, so our relations weren't at the best at that point, I guess, because you were probably asking me all the hard questions. But I think everybody here has had a nice time with you. They're all teary and they all want to cry and hug and all. So.
All right.
It's all right, guys. I'll come visit as soon as I can, which may not be for a while.
I'm crying now, Jeremy. I really am.
I'm joining you, Ella.
Yeah, you should.
Kwaheri, Jeremy.
Yes, Kwaherini.
Yeah. So yeah, Jeremy, we wish you all the best, and thanks for the fire you brought us. And maybe if there's any other A or B from here. Or yes. So the team here is quiet, so there's none from the other end. And the call.
Nothing for me. Thank you, guys.
Hey, when you soon, or do you know when the next planned trip is?
I think mid of this year, like in a couple of months.
I'm going soon.
Okay.
I'm going in June, end of June.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
All right.
All right, Willa, guys. Yeah.
See you guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.